5 minutes after 10 o'clock, it's time to talk about a very fun topic, buying a house. It is a fun thing. If you're thinking about moving into a new house, I know it's sad to leave the one you're in, but you're going to move into another one, right? Bob Kennedy is here from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and the phone lines are open if you want to chat with Bob. The number is 622-9622, kind of an open line for, it doesn't have to be a question. You maybe want to converse about something real estate related. It would be fun to kind of listen in on that and hear what's going on in your world. Good morning, Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How's everything here?
Pretty good.
Everybody's looking like it's full spring ahead, right?
Full spring ahead.
Oh, man.
I like that.
Good.
That was the use of almost like a pun, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why why appraisers carry a wasp in their hand?
Why?
Because value is in the eye of the beholder.
Nice.
It's almost like a bee. It's a joke.
Did I say I'm a good straight man?
Yes, you are.
Well, that wasn't a good joke. Usually when you're in a business, like you've heard every joke about the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you heard that one before.
I have not. I'll use it.
There you go.
It should say a bumblebee. It shouldn't say wasp, though. It should say a bumblebee. Because a wasp and a bee are two different things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least the way I always thought it.
I think they are. I run from both of them, so.
Yes.
I drove past my mom's old place yesterday just to kind of reminisce. And I remember it was just a couple of years ago that we sold it, after she passed away. And I was regretting not buying it. I was like, oh, gosh, I could have afforded that. I mean, I owned 1/5 of it at the time, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's,
Does that ever happen where somebody has inherited like one of several siblings and one decides to buy? Can they use that portion as a down payment?
It would be equity in the property, but if there's a mortgage involved, you're still going to have to take care of that mortgage. And usually if there's multiple siblings involved, there's always a crisis. So
Really?
it's
Ours was pretty smooth sailing.
that was good.
You mean as far as arguments between the siblings?
Yeah, usually there's always a lot of back and forth, but they would have that as equity. I don't think that'd be considered a down payment to a lender, though.
Oh, really? They wouldn't consider this?
No, you'd still have to show that you had money to afford a mortgage if you had to finance it and all that stuff. Yeah.
So how's everything in your world? And any of your properties get damaged by the wind?
As far as I know, we have not had any calls, and we do have stuff out on top of the world, but we have not heard from anybody.
That's
we
where
have an agent that lives in on top of the world, so I'm hoping nothing happened to his place.
What was the two places I said? Palm
Cay and on top of the
Run.
world. Oh, Oak Run?
Oak Run, yeah.
I'm sorry, Oak Run. That's what I meant.
But still, that's close enough.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because I don't know what it was. It doesn't seem like it was just wind like we had here. It still sounds.
They haven't determined it yet, but Robin lives there, and she was not home yesterday. But her husband said he went and got crouched down in the hallway.
Really?
Because there was hail and
Wow.
the winds, and one of the big trees got uprooted, so they're coming down this morning to cut it down because it was awful.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really get too much over in this part of town to that degree. But there must have been something more than just wind.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think so.
about where we were. We were driving toward. This is where we're heading toward my mom's house. Not to go there, but we were doing our oompa thing over in Lecanto, and
yeah.
we're on 200.
The open house.
And I had to stop. It was just so heavy I couldn't see.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wow.
stopped a couple of times because it was just so bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's Florida weather, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. That's why you moved here, right? You moved here for
like
the
when
weather.
it rains on one side of the street and not the other.
I've actually seen that.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
All right, so somebody wants to sell their home. You gave me a kind of an article on advice.
That was just an article in Trulia.
What is Trulia?
Trulia is like Zillow. It's a big real estate search engine.
Oh, okay.
Where you look for homes for sale, homes that have sold.
Oh.
They have some good mapping and some good cutting edge stuff to kind of check out.
So can you climb the ladder of home ownership? Let's say you don't really want a small house, but you don't have much money, so you start with a small house, and then how long would it take to climb the ladder and actually use that house as as the next step to a slightly bigger one.
Well, some people have a complete strategy on doing that, but for the average, for most of us, you're starting out. Usually, it's most cases it's a young family, not always.
Yeah.
But you'll buy a house. They call them starter homes, and you live in that, and then your career grows a little bit, your family grows a little bit. You need more space. Maybe you have a couple more dollars, and you'll sell that house, and you'll buy up to something a little bit bigger.
Uh-huh.
And some people keep on going, and some people stop along the way. But I think they say people move on average about 7 years or so. But home ownership, some people are in this, in our neighborhood, we have a lot of people who've been in their houses for over 30 years. And they came, they retired and came down here, and they haven't moved. And then you have some neighborhoods where it's definitely hey, I can afford this, and then it gets to the point where they can afford something more. And now one of the points in that article, and we've talked about it on the show a couple times, is people have more equity in their homes now. Home prices are rising,
right.
So the buy-up home buyers coming back into the market. That buyer hadn't been around for a while.
And I haven't had credit card companies sending me credit cards since I was a kid. So I guess that's a sign that the market is better again.
Well, you're getting credit requests?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I don't know.
I throw them away because I don't. Right?
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody needs that many credit cards.
But it used to be when we were kids. I don't know if this happens to you too, but I got them all the time, and then I stopped getting them, and now I'm getting them again. So I'm guessing that they looked at me and said, "Oh, he's old now. Let's give him some more."
Yeah, let's weigh him down on credit.
There's a subdivision off of Northeast 3rd Street called Heritage Hills.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when we first moved here in 1973, they always had a problem with flooding. And now I think the city has improved that. So when people go to areas like that, who do they check with to see if their homes are going to be flooded when it rains?
Well, they can check on the county maps. It has a floodplain, okay? And when you're buying a home, you're going to more than likely have to get a survey done. And if the survey shows that you're in a floodplain, then you have, you got issues, because flood insurance is very expensive now. Very expensive. So you got to deal with it. You got to know. You'll know what you're dealing with ahead of time. And it's the buyer. They have to be responsible for checking on that, because a seller may say, "Hey, I'm not in a flood zone," and they've been there a while. Maybe that's true, because
right.
a lot of FEMA guidelines got changed after the hurricanes 11 years ago, and different areas or flood zones that didn't used to be. So always be careful.
Yeah, in 2004, they redrew everything, I think.
Yes.
Or after 2004.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. So you could have a house that show, and some of them are wrong, So, I mean, we were working with one where there was a flood elevation certificate showing it was above the floodplain, but it was still listed in the property appraisers as in a flood zone. So, then you got to make sure that the insurance company makes the call the way that you're going to deal with it.
And that makes the rates go down on houses. You can buy those houses cheaper than you can if they weren't in a flood zone?
Probably, because it depends on what you're paying in flood insurance. If your flood insurance is equal to your mortgage, that's going to affect the value.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it will be, but
point.
flood insurance can be very expensive.
Of course, that would make sense. Yeah, you have to pay more for that. All right, we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back. If you want to call Bob Kennedy, the phone number is 622-9622. Maybe you are thinking about not upsizing, but downsizing. Maybe the children have moved out.
That's right. Empty nest, baby.
We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. We'll see clouds and sun today. There can be a shower with thunderstorm in spots this morning, the high 82 to 86. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, those 62 inland, 70 along the coast. For tomorrow, times of clouds and sunshine. Watch out for a shower with thunderstorm along the coastal areas, the high 83 to 87. Thursday, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and thunderstorms around, high 81 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
If your toddler seems to end up wearing more of their food than they eat, don't freak. Messy eaters, we now know, they tend to pick up languages more easily. Instead, our biggest dementia risk boils down to the foods we eat. Stay away from red meat, butter, sweets, and fried food. If you're trying to make a good impression on a man, do not worry about small flaws in your appearance like a chipped fingernail or a stain on your shirt, because chances are he won't even notice.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking: will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, 18 minutes after 10 o'clock. Bob Kennedy is here. We're talking about houses, real estate, buying and selling houses, upsizing or downsizing, whatever your needs are at that time. And we do have a phone call, Bob, so let's go straight to the phone and put your headphones on. Good morning. You're on there with Bob Kennedy.
Yes, good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
I've been reading and hearing lately about the villages and how they're still expanding, and there's a lot of what they call satellite projects going up around the village area. Would you think that would be a good investment to be in what they would call a satellite situation rather than going right into villages? I mean, would you have access to the golf and everything else there?
The villages kind of they keep it a little bit closed up, but there's a lot of people that love the activities in the villages that don't want to live in the villages. So the satellite communities are terrific. I mean, we even have them in Marion County, where a lot of people actually at one time lived in the villages, and then they want to go into Spruce Creek or somewhere up in there. But they still go into the villages. So yeah, I would say it'd be really good.
Would the prices be a little more on the downside in a satellite in comparison to being right in the villages?
Most of the communities are going to be a little bit less. Most of the new construction in the villages is pretty solid. So, from what we see of our sales down there, the average price is higher than Marion County. And you get outside that area, it's going to be a little bit less than the villages, proper.
Right. In the villages, is there like a fee, a monthly fee or yearly fee that you have to pay for the use of, let's say, the golf courses and stuff?
Yeah, there's HOAs in all those communities.
Yeah, and then in other words, if you lived outside the community, you probably would not be able to golf there, and if you did, you'd be charged a fee?
I'm sure.
Yeah. But it looks like that it's unbelievable, the population. We're talking 100,000 people and growing down there. It's going to be like a little Orlando.
The guy was a complete visionary down there. What he's done is just magnificent.
Yeah, Yeah. Do you see that spreading northward towards Ocala?
It looks like most of their construction's going the other way.
Going south, huh?
Yeah, as far as the village construction, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and in a way, it looks to me like it's designed like just a big sprawling town. There's not a city in a sense. I mean, there's no skyscrapers or tall buildings at all. It's just a big sprawling suburb.
Yeah,
without a city.
I mean, they have their little town squares. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's it's a concept that the guy did better than anybody else, pretty much.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time because she's from a big city and I'm from a big city, and a lot of people who didn't grow up in big cities kind of gravitate toward them, and those who grew up in them gravitate away from them. It's kind of like the grass is greener kind of a thing,
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a big city.
And you came down here.
And I'm here.
It's kind of interesting.
And sometimes I tell people, wow, it's really getting, this is, I'd say, well, this is, not bad for a small town. And, to them, a small town's Dunellen.
Right,
as opposed to Ocala.
right.
To them, Ocala's so it's, I guess, whatever your perspective is.
It is, yeah. All right, so can we talk about an idea that I heard about? If somebody wants to downsize, but they don't really want to let go of their house.
Okay.
So they decide to separate it. They have a house that's in two halves. Maybe the upper floor is rented out, or maybe the back area is rented out. Is that a practical thing to do? And do you hear about it often? And is it legal?
Well, what you're mentioning a lot of times happens in cities, because you have the big older homes that people come in and they'll turn them into two families or three families, or rent out the basement, things like that.
Right.
So sometimes you do it legally, and some people do it not so legally.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So there's laws. Do you know what they are here? Are they?
Here in town, I'm not aware of too much of it happening. Now, you can turn around and rent out a room. Bring in a roommate, things like that are pretty common. But to take a one family and turn it into a two family, you don't see that happening too often around here.
Okay.
But you'd have to follow. I mean, if you're going to do it by the letter of the law, you got to be in an area that is zoned for multifamily. A lot of places here it's R1 zoning. You can't make a one family into a three family.
So when the advice is to not chase the market, who is that advice to? I mean, like you say, most people are just buying homes to live in them. So who is given the advice not to chase the market?
Well, you want to make your choice to buy or not to buy or to move up based on your personal situation. To buy a bigger home that you are going to stretch your budget on just because you want to get a 4% mortgage probably isn't, that's chasing the market.
Okay.
Or, I got a chance to buy up into something, I'm not going or I'm going to sell now, take my money, and then wait for the market to crash, and then I'm going to make a killing, that kind of thing. It's like, we're not a commodity. I mean, we're not like the stock market. Things go up and down every day. It's not a liquid investment. So when you make a decision in real estate, that decision is going to be in place for a while.
So in downsizing, in the real downsizing, you're living in a big home. You want to move. You want to stay in town, but you want just a smaller place. And I guess in my mind, that's somebody 55 and older.
Usually, usually because you've raised your family. Right. Maybe you have some land. You don't need as much property. Maybe you're going to be traveling a lot more. You don't want to have the upkeep, so you can go into a condo. You can go into a smaller home. That's, of course, we have the 55 plus communities for people that want all the amenities that go with it. But yeah, mostly if you're going to downsize, mostly it's because you just don't need the space anymore.
If a person's not in one of those communities, but you just have a regular house, what kind of does fencing add to the value of the home when you sell it? And is there a certain kind of fencing that people should get as opposed to something else?
It's personal preference. Is it going to add value? No. not to really the appraised price, but it's a good feature to have. If you can offer, a lot of people have pets, a lot of people have kids. They want to keep them in they want to keep an eye on them. Having fencing's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And then whatever type fencing. Some subdivisions will tell you have to have certain type of fencing. But otherwise you can do whatever you feel like.
So do you encourage people to come to you for both the sale and the purchase? Let's say I want to downsize.
Yes.
Do you encourage me to come to you to sell the one I'm in and also help me buy the one I'm moving into?
Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time, for people that are here in town. And then, of course, we do it a lot where people are downsizing where they come from, and they're moving to Florida from, anywhere from the Midwest, Northeast, South Florida, and, we'll help them get into the communities or the lifestyle that they're looking to get into.
So what do they do first? Do they try to sell their house first, or do they try to find a house to move into first?
Usually they'll put their house on the market. It's hard to write if you have to get financing or you're going to pay cash, it's hard to have two houses today.
Yeah.
The money's not easy to get, and people are a little bit more concerned with their finances, as they should be. So usually, once your house is, wherever your house is, whether it's here or in another state, really, once it's under contract, then you can really start making the move. It's really hard you could check things out, but it's hard to write a contract if your house isn't under contract. Nobody's going to want to take their house off the market subject to you maybe getting a buyer.
One of the special things that you do personally and Berkshire Hathaway does personally is that when you are out there trying to have a person purchase a home, you say, this is a home for you that you want to purchase. You never call it a house, because a home just seems more warm, and that fits really well with your personality.
Yeah,
it does.
We're in a business where we take a lot of pride in helping people make a big decision. Mm-hmm. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good point, Robin. So can we borrow money, take out a personal loan to use as a down payment, or is that against the law?
No. They just want to, you're going to have to document where the money comes from and all that kind of stuff, but there's gift programs that people can get down.
I thought gift money couldn't be used.
No.
It can be?
It can be. We just did one last week on a conventional loan that they had gifts from family members. And I just did hear about a new loan program. It sounds like a really great program. One of our lenders was telling us about it's 3% down, which is kind of like an FHA, but there's no mortgage insurance.
Oh.
The lender pays the mortgage insurance.
Oh, wow.
And it's called the community something. Huh. And there's guidelines, for income. You can't make too much and can't make too little and all that stuff. But it's kind of like an FHA, but without the mortgage insurance. So that could save somebody, $100, $120 a month maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was going to ask you to spotlight a house on your roster, but we've got less than a minute. Do you have a good one you want to mention?
Let's see. What's a good one that we have? Oh, we have a great we're talking about starter homes and things like that. We have a great house in the Highlands for, I believe it's under $80,000. We have a little house out in the Northwest 3rd that there's seller financing, which you don't find too much of today. So that you can get in with, if the bank isn't your friend, you can make a deal with the seller.
Oh, nice.
And that's a good one. And we have a nice house on the golf course out in Golden, Ocala.
Oh, okay.
And what's your phone number, Bob?
622-9700.
All right. And go to Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty on the Facebook page, on their website, which is bhhshometeamrealty.com. Thank you, Bob.
Enjoyed it as always.
Lillian Wu, jurors in the Boston Marathon bombing trial hearing arguments for putting Johar Tsarnaev to death.
The government begins presenting aggravating evidence. That is, facts that prosecutors believe will sway the same jury of 7 women and 5 men that convicted him earlier this month. to sentence him to death.
Fox Radio's Bill Marcus at the federal courthouse in Boston.
Massachusetts hasn't put anyone to death for close to 65 years. But this is a federal trial, and the crimes of Jahar Tsarnaev include terrorism, use of a weapon of mass destruction, in addition to over a dozen others.
Worries about the Listeria bacteria has Bluebell Creameries voluntarily pulling all products from shelves. Its ice cream, frozen yogurt, and other snacks can be found in 23 states and internationally. And bird flu confirmed at an Iowa farm with more than 5 million chickens, which make up some 10%